Looking for the best Murs radio for this year? In this video, we've done an extensive review of the top Murs radios, and we rated them according to features, build quality, audio quality, and value for money. Price information and all Murs radios mentioned in the video are available in the description. So let's get started. Number 3, Retevis RT27V, best budget Murs radio. Built to be simple and cost-effective, Retevis RT27V is a great Murs radio for those on a budget. The design of the radio is quite simple. The body only holds the speaker, while the PTT button is on the side. The top of the radio has more action going on, with 2 knobs. One of these handles the power on-off and volume functions, while the other knob is intended for switching channels. In the absence of a screen, a voice from the radio announces the channel currently active. It shouldn't be much of a problem considering there are only 5 Murs channels. Apart from the 2 knobs, the antenna also finds place on the top of this radio. This is a removable antenna, and users who prefer better reception might choose to buy a different antenna. However, good antennas are expensive, and the expenditure might not justify the purchase of a budget radio in the first place. The stock antenna, while not impressive, can be a decent choice for the radio. Retevis says that the radio casing is built to last and is tough. It is mentioned that the handheld transceiver is dustproof and water resistant, though no specific IP rating is available for the Retevis RT27V. Similarly, the company claims the radio is drop resistant and can survive a fall of up to 1.5 meters. As a budget device, the radio takes the no-frills route, yet it has room for some common features. These include Vox, 9 levels of squelch control, and DCS tones. Use and access to many of these features will require connecting the radio to a computer for programming. When it comes to programming, the radio doesn't work with chirp, so it's best to use the software provided by Retevis. It isn't very intuitive and might take some time and tries setting up. Interestingly, the company calls using DCS codes DCS encrypt. This would give users the impression that the communication is somehow encrypted or secure. That is not the case, however. While DCS tones do offer some flexibility in communication, any radio within range on the same channel and DCS tone can listen or be a part of the communication. Power for the radio comes from an 1100 mAh battery, which charges through a USB-style dock. It can take a few hours for the battery to fully charge, and a full charge lets the transceiver run for about 10 hours. Retevis has a good range of Murs radios, so if you prefer more features, you can look at something like the Retevis RB38V. This one isn't as tough in build quality, but it has a small form factor and a tiny display. Retevis RB27V is another decent pick with a larger display, bigger battery, and NOAA weather channels. Overall, considering the price and value proposition, Retevis RT27V Murs is an excellent radio. It's tough, has fairly good communication quality, and is convenient to use and carry. That's why it's my pick for the best Murs radio. Number 2, Motorola RMM2050, best premium Murs radio. Motorola RMM2050 was my premium pick last year, and it remains this year too. Even though Motorola calls this radio a business radio, it is designed for the 5 Murs VHF frequencies. This handset is robust and has been subject to Motorola's exclusive and in-house accelerated life testing, which puts it through 5 years' worth of assessment. It is considered military grade and can withstand a range of adverse conditions, including dust, vibration, and general throwing around. However, it is not waterproof. The casing comes with an antimicrobial coating, and it comes with a holster instead of a belt clip, which seems slightly easier to use. The 1500 milliwatt speaker is considered a differentiator for clear audio quality, and this radio is one of the better performers when it comes to range and clarity of communication. In addition to the speaker, the radio comes with 219 PL DPL, referring to the number of customizable subchannels you can access. PL and DPL are proprietary terms used by Motorola for privacy line and digital privacy lines, but are essentially the same as CT/CSS and DCS privacy codes, enabling a team in a busy area, like an industrial park, to filter out irrelevant chatter and overlapping channel users. Programming requires extra cabling, and connection to a computer is required to optimize the 16-channel memory slots. Note that the programming cable connects to the charging station, not directly to the radio, which may be one of the design features that enables the handset to be so robust. A voice announcement when you turn on and switch between channels tells you which channel you are on. It is the only Murs radio with an advanced voice activation feature, and this enables you to go hands-free while the radio stays in the holster, even if you want to check which channel you're on. In addition to multiple sub-channel options, great speaker and voice activation, this radio also comes with tricolor LED display notifications. Battery life is within the 8 to 15 hour range, but there are not any battery saving options to maximize duration. It comes with a charging cradle, but many of the accessories that come as standard with other Murs radios are absent here, such as an earpiece kit. You can charge the battery in the charging cradle separately to the radio, which is useful if you have a backup battery, and this way you always have a charged battery ready to go. Overall, Motorola RMM 2050 is a strong and well-designed radio, probably the best quality of the lot, and that makes it my choice for the best premium Murs radio. Number 1. BTEC Murs V2, our top choice. In many ways, BTEC Murs V2 continues the success story of its predecessor, the Murs V1. The combination of attractive pricing and decent features make the V1 a value for money deal too good to skip. The V2 slides in at the same spot. The change between the two models isn't drastic, but a few make the new version more modern. BTEC Murs V2 has a more crisp display with a better backlight, and the battery can now accept a USB-C cable for charging. There are multiple charging options here, and you can still use the conventional CH8 desktop charger. This option can be pretty useful for commercial use. A small red LED comes up at the base as the radio charges, turning to green once the charging is done. The radio uses the common 1800 mAh BL8 battery, which offers roughly 18 hours of use on a full charge. The radio is compatible with any BL8 battery packs and accessories, so users can change this to better suit their requirements. The larger charge comes to the chipset, and that's what really matters. With this upgrade, the V2 performs slightly better and faster. You get 200 fully programmable channels, plus the ability to arrange or modify them. Overall, it's just easier and more intuitive to manage channels right from the keypad of the radio. Of course, you can still program it to suit your needs, and it works rather well with Chirp. You can also use this to name up to 15 channels. The same goes for privacy tones. You can change them directly from the keypad. Once a tone has been changed, the radio will save it automatically. This feature is pretty useful and makes things quicker. It also leaves room for mistakenly changing tones and messing things up, so exercise caution. Murs V2 can watch 2 channels simultaneously using its semi-duplex receiver. It's not a true dual channel, but it gets fairly close. Each channel takes a line on the screen, so it's easier to track and monitor them. The PTT function is split between the 2 channels, much like the display. There are 2 PTT buttons, with the upper button working for the upper line on the display, while the lower button works for the lower channel on the display. That's another useful feature for commercial users looking for a new Murs radio. Other notable features of this radio include NOAA weather scans, FM radio receiver, LED flashlight, Vox, CTCSS and DCS codes, 3-color display, Roger Beep, DTMF encoder, and transmission timeout timer. Overall, BTEC Murs V2 is a feature-rich Murs radio with a great price tag and a good range of accessories and options to work with. The good value and transmission quality make this a decent choice if you're looking for the best Murs radio.